Hi, welcome to my channel today. I have in front of me some vegetables that we all use. There are so many different vegetable scraps that you can actually keep a little bit of them and regrow them. And then once you've bought them once, you don't have to keep going to the store as those prices keep increasing and buying and buying and buying again. I'm going to show you how you can actually just grow them right at home, and it's super easy. It's nothing that you need a giant garden to do. You can do it inside. You can just take what you have and use it, and it will regrow for you, and you'll be able to use it for a long, long time to come. So again, like I said, there are a lot of vegetables you can do this with. I'm only doing these three today as a demonstration, but feel free to look around and you'll find out you can do this with all kinds of things. So I have celery here, which I know we're all, at least in the U.S., are going to be using that probably a lot for Thanksgiving coming up. And then I have a regular onion, and I also have green onions. So I'm going to show you first the celery. And all you would need to do is get your celery stalk, and you're going to cut up about 3 inches, about 2 to 3 inches. That's what you want to do. And then all your celery, of course, you can put that in your stuffing or whatever you're going to do with that. So this is all that you need. And some people do like to take off the outside parts, because I was going to show you here, I have one actually that I'm already working on. And I don't know if you can see that, but it can get a little bit mushy or yucky on the outsides as it's growing. Doesn't hurt anything at all, but if it bothers you, you can certainly take that off. Or if you're really limited on space, you can do that as well. So all you really have to do though is take this, put it in some water. And I used a little bowl just to show you. I've got this other one in this bowl here, and it's just a regular cereal bowl. So you don't need a lot of time or a lot of space to do it. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to come back later, and I'm going to show you what it's going to be looking like. It's going to start like this one is, and it's going to even grow. And then we are going to put it into a pot, and you'll have celery growing. And as long as you're pulling off those outside pieces, keeping that middle one going, you can keep perpetually growing that celery. It's really wonderful. So then the next thing would be the green onions. And once you get these green onions, they are so easy to grow. So you take your green onions or your scallions, whatever you call them, and you're going to do about the same thing, about 2 to 3 inches there at the end where the root pieces are. Just put those all together, cut that part off. And again, you can use the green onions for your recipes, whatever. And then you're going to put those in some water with the root side down. And you're going to leave them also for a few days. And then they're going to get roots growing. And once we get that growing, I just harvested these, but this is some green onions that I have that I just keep snipping the tops off, and I've had them for a while, and they'll just keep going. So it's just wonderful. And then with your regular onion that so many people use, you don't have to keep going out and buying more and buying more. The part here with the root coming out, just cut off that bottom part. The rest is ready for your recipe. And then the part with the roots coming out, you're going to put in the water. Just like that. And then in a few days, you're going to see little roots coming out the bottom, and we're going to get that planted as well. And then you'll be able to grow your onions. It's not difficult at all. So we'll come back in a few days and we'll see how all these are doing. Okay, so it's been a few days and we're going to get started with our vegetables in just a moment. I did want to read a couple of scriptures just like we've talked about before to give hope and peace and let us know that we are not alone. So this one is in the Old Testament in Psalm 119:9. It says, "How can a young man keep his way pure? By guarding it according to your word." So it helps us when we read his word and we study his word to do that. And then in the New Testament, in 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, starting in verse 16, it just gives such great hope. "For the Lord himself will come down from heaven with a loud command, with the voice of the archangel, with the trumpet call of God, and the dead in Christ will rise first. After that, we who are still alive and are left will be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Lord Jesus in the air, and so we will be with the Lord forever. Therefore, encourage one another with these words. And these words certainly are encouraging. And just like all my videos, if you have questions or you want to know more about Jesus, there's always links in the bottom, or you can contact me too, and I can get you plugged in with things. So let's see how our vegetables are doing. They are ready to be planted into pots. Now, I did want to tell you a couple things that I didn't tell you at the beginning. When you have them in water, you do want to change that water every couple of days just to keep it fresh as these are growing. And then also, even right now, like right now it's winter time in the United States, and so it's cold, and where we are in zone 5A, it's really cold. It gets down into the teens and even like 2 or below 0. So can't really grow a lot of these outside right now, but we can grow them inside in the dirt, which is what I'm getting ready to do now. If you are in a warmer climate where you don't have that cold, you can plant these scraps and other ones directly into your dirt out in your garden. And it doesn't have to be a big plot like we're talking about. You know, we're going to grow these in pots, so you wouldn't need a big space to do that. There's even like 5-gallon cloth bags you can get. I'll put some links down for just different options that you might look at in case you don't know the ones that are out there. I certainly didn't when I started. So there's different ones you can get. And if you have that warm weather, you don't even have to put the scraps in water first. You can put them directly in dirt, and they'll start growing for you, and you'll start getting them right there in your garden. Now, the other thing too, you can add to your dirt like worm tea, and I'll put a link for that down there. Other liquid fertilizers would be nice as well, but I have grown these like the ones I showed on the previous section, where just stuck them in the dirt and they're growing like my green onions. They're just growing and growing and growing. So you don't have to do that. If you're going to keep them going and keep going, then you're going to want to add something eventually, because obviously they're taking nutrients out of the soil, and that's going to deplete that. Okay, so let's get started. First, with our regular onion, I'm going to dump out this water. I'm going to show up close because I don't think you'll be able to see it. One thing that you look for to know that it's ready, I don't know if you can see that. There it is. See those little new growths? That's how you know that's ready to go in the dirt. So we're just going to put this right here. I have pre-moistened this soil, so it's already moistened. You would want to do that. And whatever pot you use, of course, you want it to have good drainage. So if you don't have any other option, you can put rocks in the bottom. You can find a pot that has those holes so you can get that drainage in there. But we just scoop it out. I'm just moving it over. You can see that there. Just enough to bury this right there. Doesn't have to go down far. And then I'm going to cover it up and pat it down. And that one is ready to grow. And you'll see that start growing. And again, you can do that right in your house. If you have sunny windows, that will help a lot. I can't use those. I've mentioned this on previous videos. My sunny windows are in spots that my tabby cat, Mr. Chives, can get to, and he just cannot leave plants alone. So I can't use them for plants. He'll eat them. So I have found a couple of inexpensive grow lights, and I'll put links for those down below too, and see if that might be something that would be interest to you too, if you have to do that. So then next, we have our green onions, and I won't do all of them just for the sake of time, but we've soaked them in water. And again, if you could do this outside, you don't even have to get them started that way. You could just put them in your ground, but we're going to put them in there now. So you just push that down. So you make a hole where you can put it in there so that it's, I leave the very tip, just about that little bit out of the dirt. So you make the hole long enough that you can put the root side down, of course, and bury it up to that neck part and then just press it down a little bit. And that's all you have to do. And those green onions are going to start growing for you. And again, the root side down, going to leave just a tiny bit up. And these grow fast. And you can just keep cutting off that top green part and they grow right back. It doesn't take hardly any time at all. Again, that was pre-moistened. The celery one I have a little bit bigger because I'm doing a bit of an experiment with mine. I like experimenting. I like finding out what works and doesn't. There's so much advice out there. There's so many, do it this way, you have to do it that way, you have to add this, you don't need to add anything. So I like to experiment and find out. So that first one that I showed you before, it's already growing. And we're going to put that in there. But I'm also going to put the other one that I've had in the water the whole time, but it's not growing up there yet. So normally when you do this, you would let that be in your water until you got that. But I have seen several people suggest that you can just put it in the dirt like it is. So I'm going to see if it makes a difference. I'm putting this one in first, burying it, leaving that leafy part out, and then I'm going to, on the other side, I'm going to put this one and I'm going to bury it and I'll see what happens. And I would really encourage you to do the same thing. Just try different things and see if it works. And sometimes it won't, but sometimes it does. And that's really exciting too. So with the celery, I mentioned before, when it grows up, you'll get those celery stalks and you can just take those off and leave that middle section and it'll keep growing back and keep growing back for you. And then you can have that abundance and just keep going and going. And with your onions, you should get multiple onions. And then, of course, you can use one of those and reuse those again. And that's one way that you don't have to keep going to the store in this very expensive time of ours and buying things. I'm doing another video here very soon on growing herbs at your house because those are really expensive, but they add so much to cooking. And so I'm going to show you, it doesn't matter if you have a little space, a big space, you can do them outside, but you can also do them very successfully inside. They're easy to grow and they're fun. So thank you very much for coming along on this journey with me. I hope you're having fun just unplugging and forgetting about everything going on for a little while with me. If you are, please do hit the subscribe button and the bell so you'll get notified when I have new videos. If you like this, please hit the like button. And if you've done any scraps or you've tried some other ones, as I mentioned, there's a lot of different kitchen scraps that you can regrow. And if you've done that, put a comment down. I'd love to hear, and it might help other people too to know other ones that are easy to do and successful, maybe even in small spaces like a lot of people in apartments. So that's it for today. Thanks for stopping by. See you next time. Bye-bye.